Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla TV. You can watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new TCX X-Tour EVO GTX boot, available at RevZilla.com. I've seen this boot before, and so have you. This is the X-Tour EVO GTX. The difference is TCX makes this, and this boot, in my opinion, is an homage to what I've seen as the best of Bavaria, which is the Daytona Roadstar. But this is TCX's take. So if we look at it, very similar in its style. But if you've seen the Daytona Roadstar before, I'm going to tell you immediately what's different about the X-Tour EVO. Difference is protection. Now, they've added D3O in the shin area, molecular armor, D3O in the ankle, both medially and laterally, and the sole is about an 8 on the stiff scale, whereas the Roadstar is going to be a little bit more soft. It's going to be about 6.5, 7, a little bit more comfortable, a little more touring oriented. I'm going to call this a 4-season touring boot, but there's a little bit more of a ruggedness here in the X-Tour EVO. A little bit more beefy, the protection scheme has been moved up, and again, you're getting more protection through the sole, and that's really the big diff here. So you're getting a little bit more of a bomb-proof boot. You're still over that $400 mark. There's also one other thing that jumps out at me immediately. Out of all the stock boots, right, that are in this range that really cover this base, so you have the Daytona Rainstar, which I always call the Rolls-Royce of touring boots. You now have the X-Tour EVO, and you have the Latimer from Dainese, which is really more of a European take on a very similar boot. This guy is going to have the widest and tallest stock toe box, so your footbed's bigger. Now, the Daytona comes in a regular, and it comes in a double E width, right? And you go double E, this doesn't come in a double E width. But what you're getting out of the box in the X-Tour EVO is a little bit more width, a little bit more height. There's definitely a contingent of folks out there that are wearing the normal or the double E width Daytona Roadstar that think it's a little bit short. It could be a little bit taller in the toe box, so keep that in mind. When I personally stack the two next to each other, I really think you're making a bit of a trade-off, right? So you're looking at the adventure aggression factor of this D3O molecular armor now worked into the TCX X-Tour, and when I think about handmade, Bavaria, German engineering, a decades-old factory where there's this attention to detail that goes in that last 10%, I think when you see the craftsmanship and the attention to detail on some of the finishes on the Daytona Roadstar, I think it slightly edges out the TCX X-Tour, but again, they are neck and neck. These are things that are not going to affect your riding. They're just really, where do you want to lean? Do you want a little bit more comfort and a little bit more of the finishing detail, or do you want a little bit more of the ruggedness with the beefed up armor and a new school protection scheme that you're seeing from TCX? Now remember, it's Gore-Tex all the way up, and it's double cuff. If you've never seen the Roadstar, I've talked a bunch about it. You should really go watch that video to understand where I'm contrasting here. But if I open it up, remember your Gore-Tex membrane is all the way up. Waterproof, breathable, guaranteed for life to the highest degree. True 4-season, and it's full-grain hydrophobic leather. So again, allowing your foot to sweat, keeping the rain out, but allowing that moisture to come out, emanate from your foot, get out through the boot, keeping you cool, keeping you comfortable, keeping you warm in the winter. Again, it's all about temperature and perspiration regulation when you get into the Gore-Tex membrane, and they are the gold standard compared to a lot of homegrown membranes that you'll see in other types of materials. You're also going to see, again, it's dual cuff. We very seldom see this dual cuff design. We've only seen it 3 times. We see it in the Roadstar Daytona, we now see it in the X-Tour EVO, and you see it in that Dainese Latimer, which again is a little bit more narrow and has more of a Euro feel, but same basic premise here. See how it comes up? You could tuck your pants into it, really a multitude of configurations, and again, you have the ability for water to get in, not get in the gaiter, and drain out through the bottom. Now, as I beef it, or I zip it rather, all the way back up, you also see on the Daytona they have a different type of zipper pull, but they're still using big YKK Vislon zippers. Actually, the Daytonas are a hair beefier. When I open it up or zip it up like that, let's talk about fitment, right? So the back of this boot has the dual wing configuration. So depending on the size of your calf, you actually have additional circumference across the top as well. So again, if you have big boy calves or big boy feet and you want a stock size, this is going to perform better than any of the other similar boots in the class that I've described earlier. You have this adjustability. We talked about the height of the toe box. We talked about the width of the toe box in the stock model. Use a size chart. It won't steer you wrong. No surprises there. Remember, we'll ship for free over 39 bucks. And as always, click our logo. Subscribe to us at RevZilla TV on our YouTube channel. Leave me your comments, your questions, your feedback on the new TCX X-Tour EVO boot. GTX in the name as well. A lot of X's, a lot of T's, a lot of EVO TCX. I think your naming conventions need to change for next year. Now, let's move into the rest of the guts of this boot. We've talked about how you've used it. We talked about what else is in the class, where it goes. And again, the baby brother of this boot's going to be something like the X5 Plus Gore-Tex in TCX, which is over that $300 mark. But again, a little bit of apples and oranges when you're looking at this full height boot. Now, from the outside in, right, full grain leather. Notice the panels, dual stitched everywhere to keep everything together. Elasticated bellows, dual recessed stitching on your shift panel, on your control controls. And again, beefy toe box, beefy ankles, beefy heel cockpit, and you even have this textured heavy-duty nylon reinforcing it in a highly abrasion-prone zone. So again, low side crash, that's going to hold up a little bit better for you. I talked about the sole. It's a non-slip, high-grip touring sole that does have a little bit of an edge in the back to catch your foot peg. And remember, it's going to be stiffer, 7.5, 8 on that scale. That's different than a 6. The Daytona Roadstar, you can hop off your bike and walk around all day. Very comfortable. It's very much a comfortable boot. Actually, I feel a little bit more of the bike there too. This guy's standing on the foot pegs. This guy like dual sporting. It's going to do better for you. Now, again, there's my ankle. I have that big piece of D3O in the armor. As I work my way to the back here, notice elastication. We have our reflective Scotch-Lite paneling, which I look for. And then on the medial side, light TCX branding. I like that the logoing is very minimalistic. And again, what you'd expect with your medial side D3O protection. Now notice the wings at the top, keeping your big YKK's Vislons in place. I'm gonna open them back up again. We'll work our way down one more time. Up across the top here, it's this microfiber, this micro suede, super comfy against your feet if it happens to touch your skin, depending on the height of your sock. And again, the inside is your traditional premium Gore-Tex wicking liner. This material is meant to wick, pull sweat away, pull it out through the Gore-Tex membrane, get it out of the boot. It's a one-way membrane. And again, Mother Nature can throw whatever she wants at you. It's not gonna allow any of that wet from the outside to get in and get your foot wet. So again, that's the beauty of waterproof, breathable from the inside out, but also waterproof at its core. Looking down as we move our piece down here, you're going to see tiny perforation scheme in that leather to aid in breathability. Another cuff here in the back to make sure it's not going to chafe against your skin. I will say that on the Daytona itself, the materials at the top are just a hair softer. There's a little bit of accordion on the back there too, but I'm really nitpicking because all in, whether you're looking for a softer boot from a comfort standpoint or you're looking for the extra size or width on the stock version or the molecular protection that makes it a little bit more dual sport oriented, either one's going to be awesome. And if you want to go full on Euro, check out the Dainese Latimer because that's going to be a little bit more of that thin, lighter weight Dainese sexy Italy contingent that they're doing as well. So not a ton that I would improve here. Big fan of TCX catching up. The only thing I would say is, again, I think they need to tip their hat to Daytona because they're basically taking the design that's been tried and true, it's been a staple of another brand, and they're saying, hey, we're gonna try to improve upon it. So I do think that that's very flattering, where imitation is that highest form of flattery. The next step in your journey, though, as you evaluate, is to click the info button on your desktop or your mobile device. Visit the product detail page at RevZilla.com on the X-Tour EVO. Read other rider reviews that have put it through its paces even further than we have to understand how the TCX X-Tour EVO is stacking up. Shouldn't just take my word for it. As always, we'll ship for free over 39 bucks. If you want to talk to a gear geek, see us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our detailed breakdown. Remember, subscribe to us at RevZilla TV, our YouTube channel. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.